Hi, Claudette. I'm not sure if I have
Hi,
my.
yeah,
Hi.
hi Mary. Sorry about that. I'm still adjusting everything. I kind of stepped away and I'm trying to reconnect everything.
Oh, no, that's okay. Take your time. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, I tried to join in a few times, but I didn't get much cadence in there, and so I don't know if I missed too much in between things when I'm like able to join in or not, but
No, no, you don't miss too much. We have different topics every single week, so it's no big deal.
okay, great. All right.
Are you working on anything specific in customer marketing today?
Well, I'm heavily right now in a more of a B2C kind of aspect. I know a lot of times the group I think everything is like more B2B, but I have to do both actually on both sides to connect the dots. But yeah, I'm one of them is to try to get more do some more acquisition on the B2B side so that they can do some acquisition on the B2C side. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
What's the name of your company?
I'm with Pet Vet Care Centers. We have
Ah,
400, yeah, we have 450 hospitals nationwide.
B2C. That's awesome. I've always being a vet was always something that I considered, but never actually ended up moving into that space. So
Uh, that's so nice. It's never too late.
true, true. Hi, everyone. Thanks for jumping on this week.
Hey there.
I'm not on video because I woke up with um, an allergic reaction in my eye. I think it's my kitten, but it just happens once in a while. So my eye gets a little puffed up and I look funky, but who cares? I'll give people.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Yeah, he's so cute and fun. He's really actually quite crazy. Like he can be totally kind of demon and then 5 minutes later just want to snuggle up right next to you and you're like, I don't know if he's gonna attack me or what.
Yep, that's about it. For me, it's just the pollen has started already. I'm in the South. I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. So we have a nice thin layer of yellow pollen over everything right now.
Oh, that's so hard. That is hard.
Um,
How is the mood in South Carolina with the uh verdict and stuff?
I mean, everybody I've talked to is pretty happy.
Crazy,
We all knew.
crazy
Oh,
story.
yeah. So crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. We watched there's like a documentary series either on Netflix or um Hulu, but it was funny at the end he was on the phone with his son and he was like, "Hey, is this on Netflix?"
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there have been a number of um, scandals surrounding that family for a good long time. So, like, nobody here was really surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's good that it catches up with people, you know? That's
yeah, for
that's a
sure.
good thing. Okay, well, let's hop in. I'm sure we'll have some people join and jump off at different points during the call today. So let's start with the topic of the day was going to be customer programs. And unfortunately, Ashley Ward was going to share with us, but she can't be on today because they're having some power issues in South California. They got snow, and her house hasn't had power in over a week, and they said that it's hopeful that they'll have it this weekend. So she was like, I can't jump on, However, we can still talk about that. And Rachel Ward had a topic for today, but she's not on yet, to talk about Customer Day coming up and what we can do for our customers, any campaigns that people have ideas for, and things like that. Yes, Daniel, everyone that gets on from California and talks about how beautiful and warm and sunny it is there, there's a little bit of me that was like, ha ha, you got snowed. Okay,
I mean,
so who wants to
it's
talk about?
still, just for the record, it's still a balmy 52 degrees here today. Like, just because we have beautiful snow to look at doesn't mean it's, freezing sleet or anything.
Oh, hush. Let me have my win. So let's talk about customer programs because I think it's a topic that is really important for customer marketing, anything on this side of post sales, but often people don't call it customer programs. So or just don't know what that really means. So I think there's a big kind of opening there and a gap that we can talk through. And I'd love to hear like what questions people have about it or um, ideas or how it's helped their campaigns, their programs. Anyone want to jump in?
So I was gonna ask, I think you hit on this, which is like, what do you even mean when you say customer programs? Because I can think of a bunch of different ways that that term gets used. And so I don't know if we want to focus this discussion in a particular way, or if we maybe even want to talk a little bit about all the different ways it gets defined.
Yeah. One, go ahead and share like how do you see it defined, and I will share as well.
So I tend to think about it in terms of like a customer facing marketing program. So I would say really the life cycle type programs, right? So onboarding or release, new feature release programs or things like that. That's what I tend to think of. But I would not be surprised if other people think about it very differently.
I think
Yeah.
I have my definition, and I'm going to put quotation marks, it's a working definition, of course, is a little more around, I think, trying to sell them something less and more about how they can, like you said, onboarding, adopt the product, how to work with the company, and how to succeed with what they've already purchased, and a little less salesy and a little less marketing. But that's my purist mentality and optimistic idealism for customer programs. I don't think that's what my organization does, but personally, that's my definition.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so I would say that both of you are right. For me, a customer program is any kind of initiative, project that is specifically put in place to help customers do something or be like get the success that they need. In a lot of instances, I guess you can say anything post sales, like onboarding is a customer program. But what I find them to be, or how I use them, I suppose you would say, is building very small programs that are very specific in the benefit that it brings to customers and using them to attract customers to the programs that or the projects that I'm working on so that I can build relationships with them and own a relationship myself. So whether that's like not needing to have customer success as like going through them for communications and things is one of the bigger areas that I try to use these programs. And that's not because I want to avoid customer success, but because I just want to approach the relationship in a different way. I want to see it or build it as I'm giving so much value that they want to get their customers involved and send them to the programs that we're working on. But in that, there's all sorts of programs. So I see that a lot of times customer programming is inside of communities or things like that where there's a focus on success. And so that's how I use them. Does that align with what either of you are saying, Jody and Lauren?
I think it does. I mean, I think you have probably a more specific definition, right? Thinking about those programs that are more targeted or narrow versus anything that's a more broadly customer facing program. But I definitely think we're in the same ballpark.
Agreed.
Daniel, I'm interested in how you think about customer programs. I'm sure you use what I would call customer programs in your, customer marketing and advocacy world.
Yeah, I kind of use it all interchangeably, right? I think we box ourselves too much into other people's definitions of what customer programs, what customer marketing, whatever it is, whatever you do and however you define your role, just stick with it. And the devil's in the details. Mary, I think you're onto something, which is the more you can form relationships, the more you can establish yourself outside of the traditional bounds of a customer relationship with a vendor, the better. So for instance, I have no idea how much we charge for anything. And I purposely have no idea how much we charge for anything because I never want any conversation that I have with a customer to be driven by, I'm trying to sell them something.
Right.
If I know what our products do and I know what problems they can solve. So anytime I bring it up, I'd be like, oh, we actually have this project that could help you. If they ask me how much does it cost, I'm like, I have no idea. I just know that the value it'll bring will actually be, valuable to you.
Yeah, I think that's important too. The very loosely, I'll say this, that my approach with either community and customer marketing, which I've done a lot of community and that I didn't realize during that time fell under customer marketing, and then turned into, there was a lot of advocacy as well. What was I gonna say? Just the way that I do that, it's focused on like trying to help them be successful in whatever they're doing, not specifically with our product or that world of our product, but whatever their goals are within their careers and their jobs. And I think part of that is, knowing how we can help, but also not focusing on the business monetarily part of it. Yeah, it's like it helps with revenue when you're like, oh, I talked to this person a lot. I know this tool would be great for them. Let me see if I can help with some expansion there. But I try not to lean into that too heavily unless it's really defined as part of my job. Okay, so let's talk about just some customer programs, like give some examples if anyone wants to jump in of ways they've used specific. I like to be specific with them because I've learned that when I say to someone, I have a program you can join, it's going to help you be successful, it's going to help you learn, it's going to help you network with other people, it's starting to fall flat because so many companies have communities or these programs, and it's like, hey, we do all of these things and you're welcome to join, without saying, this is what I'm specifically going to do for you. So one of the ones that I've had that was really successful was using our match program to invite customers to join our community. Like, join our community, and every month I will find somebody that wants to connect with someone like you, like in your industry, whatever. They filled out a quick profile of the products they use, the industry they were in, the types of conversations they wanted to have. And each month I would send them someone new that they could connect with and set up a call, get to know each other. And because they knew that they'd meet at least one new customer a month, they really seemed to like that. Um, who else has a program they want to share?
Hey, Mary, I have a question. When you did that, did you kind of focus, like, were any of your priorities on helping accelerate kind of open opportunities,
Open opportunities as far
like
as like,
field motions? So, for example, if there was an open opportunity, let's say for customer X, and they had a sales motion closing within 3 months, would you look what that open opportunity was and engage them with another customer that that was considering or that had that same kind of profile they were looking at?
wow, that's a really good approach to it. If like you have to work on that expansion idea or supporting that with like references and things like that. I did not at the time, but I can't say that it wouldn't work for that. We had more people sign up to just be a part of the match program than we had people that wanted to join the community to just join the community. But in making those matches, I mean, I definitely could have looked at that, but it wasn't one of the goals we had at the time. That's a great
Okay.
idea, though.
Okay.
I guess I always have to put my operational hat on. Like, did you use a software to match them, or was it a very customized personal lift?
Yeah, so that's one of the things, right, with these programs or things that, I call them programs because it's a good word to use for the customers sometimes, but um they're really all different types of things. I did them manually, um, at least when I started, and I had used other tools before, but I didn't like the way that they made the connections. So I stayed with just a spreadsheet. And I mean, that's not difficult to use. But it did take some time, probably an hour every month, to go through all the names, make sure I was picking someone that aligned with what they had put in their profile, and then making sure it was someone that they hadn't been connected with before. And then the communication itself. So I'd schedule, okay, Thursday, I should go through and check and see how everyone's doing. It was a very manual process, but it was also really helpful in building the relationships myself, because when I checked in with them, it was like, hey, what's going on? And I'd learn more about them. And in learning more about them, they'd be more willing to do other programs or look at the advocacy um, activities we had available. Okay. Trying to think of any other programs. Does anyone else have programs that they've used? I call them programs, but like I said, it is very loose, the term. It's just to say anything that I'm putting together that's specifically trying to bring the relationship to me. So even while I was at the last company I was at, where I started meeting a lot of you in the community, starting these calls on Fridays. They were initially called coffee breaks, but starting those calls was a step in trying to connect with more people and bring them into the community and help focus on building that community and the resources available, and just giving that sense of community that's been a big part of what customer marketing people do. But I moved on from there, and that has still been a very big part of for myself for connecting, and in the companies that I've helped, like I do community and advocacy consulting and contracting, and those companies that I work with, we've done very similar phone calls, like these calls where you just get on and talk about what's important to you as a customer or in a community.
I apologize, I was a little late. What was sort of the original question? Is it around getting customers to engage in community?
No, so the original idea was that Ashley Ward was going to jump on and talk about how she's used customer programs, which are just like small projects and initiatives focused on specific gains for the customers to get to kind of build her own relationships with the customers and turn like nurture them into advocacy and things like that. I've seen that a lot of companies do use communities for that, but not all companies. I mean, um, and in my experience, actually, I've seen that a lot of people use these programs to get people to join communities. Um, but yeah, this not just me talking this week. It's whoever wants to talk about it. And I wanted to make sure we covered the topic because she couldn't be with us. But if nobody has any more questions to talk about it, then we can definitely jump into something else. I see Rachel has joined us.
Hi, I was also late, so thanks, Kaylee, for asking that question because I was not going to pipe up and say, what are we talking about?
Hey, Rachel.
I really thought some of you would have some more ideas on specific ways to entice your customers to join and get involved. I'm sure you do. Maybe you're
I
shy to
mean, I mean, one thing that comes to mind, not necessarily specific to any of our specific businesses, but Mary, I mean, you do it already in the community, right? Somebody asks a question, you tag somebody who you know might be let's call them a expert or have researched that topic. Daniel mentioned it earlier. It's like, how can you build relationships with your customers about maybe nothing related to your own business? So if you're talking with them and they bring up, oh, I'm going to whatever, Seattle next week, and you're like, oh, I have a customer in Seattle, let me see if I can get a restaurant recommendation for you, or really just anything to like be a human being and not just a robot business or just a face on the other side of the computer. I think we all do that in a way in the Slack communities and just on these calls of kind of letting your guard down to a sense. You don't have to be all buttoned up like you maybe do have to be in internal calls or with your customers. So I think those could all qualify as quote unquote customer programs, but it's more just, I don't know. I think a lot of people in this world get caught up in terms and calling things and putting them into certain buckets and certain parts of Slack communities and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like it's all the same stuff. Like it's all just trying to like get to know people, help them with their problems, connect to them with people who can help, get them thinking in different ways that they might not be thinking. And at the end of the day, we all have to do a job, right? You have to get these people a part of your program, and you need them to do certain things, but that's a job, right? Everybody gets that that's part of it. So you just kind of try to add value in creative ways before you kind of just put them in a box and make them or make an ask of them. So I think there's a lot that people are doing. They just don't necessarily define it by whatever a term.
Yeah. Do you think there's a better way to approach a subject that would resonate more with people in this community or just in customer marketing in general?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess I don't know what that is. Like I think I said, like the terms I think can be kind of siloing. If one company calls it customer advocacy or another calls it customer marketing, there might already be a silo or a wall put up where it's like, okay, maybe there are differences, maybe there are some tweaks here and there, but like at the end of the day, there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of similarities there. So I think I don't know how to kind of better define or kind of get away from maybe outdated terms or terms that have adopted new definitions. I mean, one that comes to mind is like go to market is a very new term in the last couple of years, where like 10 years ago, nobody used the term go to market or they didn't have go to market teams or strategies, but now it's basically all encompassing. Where I think customer marketing and advocacy is adapting to or adopting kind of with times and different types of workforces and different types of customers. So I think it's kind of trying to break down those term walls, for kind of a silly way to say it, and really just get at like kind of the concept of like what's the goal, or what are we trying to achieve, and how can we kind of be effective at doing that. But I don't really know if that's an answer, but it's just kind of where my brain's going.
No, definitely. It made me think more like so one of the reasons that I focus on building these things, and really I just didn't have another term for it when I was talking about it, to like what to call them, like roundtables and user groups and these match programs and informal customer calls or informal community calls. Um, I just didn't have a word for that, but my focus on with it is that I'm trying to approach several customers at once that in some way want to participate in something that's going to help them be more successful in whatever they're doing, whether that's something from their career or something with our product, and look at it as a group instead of just the one-on-one advocacy, because one-on-one advocacy obviously is very time consuming, which it's great because we have the white glove approach. But on the other hand, once you start turning around these requests and becoming very successful in doing so, it actually works against you because you get so many more people internally that ask you to do something. So if I can put together one of these kind of programs, initiatives to attract several people at once and build that relationship on these calls or in roundtables or through a match program, then I'm going to have 30, 40, 50 people at a time that I can invite into the advocacy program based on my relationship with them, versus inviting one on, putting a thing out there that says, hey, join our advocacy program. And without a relationship, I have to rely on those customer success and salespeople to really push that. And that's a whole new effort and a whole different approach to internal, change management and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased, but obviously, I would tell you need a scalable solution or tool to support those, right? That there are ways to really effectively do that, and you want to give people the ability to learn about what opportunities are out there for their customers, so then the whole company is benefiting from your program, as opposed to just the program that you can kind of have your hands in, or your hands on. So I totally hear what you're saying. But that's why there are great tools out there to help you.
Wink, wink.
I think Carmen had her hand raised a while ago, and I was blabbing on.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
sorry I missed that.
Oh, no worries. I was just, to your point, Andrew, you were saying just about building relationships and like outside of being like the robot company that we are. So I just thought I would share with you guys what I did this past month. Because I work at a startup, and so I do everything. And I very much try to, I guess, reframe some of these programs to being like customer experience and relationship building is like kind of the terminology that I use internally, because it's like, yeah, we already have all the programs that like the CSMs or the sales and all the folks are doing, but like, how can I, in my role as customer marketer, help enhance some of those relationships, or enhance the experience and journey as a whole? But one of the things that I did this past month, just to kind of help build my community, because that's what we want to launch next, is a community, but we need to like figure out who our advocates even are to begin with and like build that base. This past month, just to build relationships, I hosted Customer Appreciation Month, which just did a series of different events and things for our customers. One being around like an education session with like our top users to just really get them in the door and make sure that they have those tools that they need. The other thing that we did is we had our internal teams nominate some of the customers that they just appreciate working with. And then we went on LinkedIn and we literally just, whatever they said about them, we cleaned it up to be, external facing appropriate. But we tagged those individuals on LinkedIn and just said, hey, like Claravine loves working with this person because they're XYZ. and left it at that to just kind of like big them up externally. And then the last thing that we did was just host a customer appreciation event, which was a terrarium building workshop. And it was just, we didn't talk about work at all. We literally just had some fun. And at the end of that, I got a lot of really great feedback. I got a lot of people raising their hand that they want to be what we're going to call a standardista. And so we're looking at how can we just pull people out of their day-to-day work and then connect with them like as individuals. So I just thought I would share some of those ideas and things that I did this past month if it was helpful for anyone.
Yeah, I love that. I love all of that. That's amazing because it just gets people out. Like, one, you got to build relationships and probably help them build relationships as well, like with the other top users or
Mhm.
with other people. Once I get, so many times in these calls, like say Maria gets on and talks about things, I know that, and I'm not saying this specifically happened with her, but I know that other people, having seen her step up and say XYZ, are going to reach out on LinkedIn or in the community and say, hey, thank you for saying these things. I have a follow-up question. And it increases that sense of community so much. Did you do the terrarium thing virtually or live?
Virtually. Yeah, we had Postal host it for us.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I had them all like send me their pictures, and then I sent all the pictures back out in a collage. And so it's just really, really taking away from the day of like the work day and just having fun. So it was nice.
Yeah, treating
That's a
people
great
like
idea.
people.
Mhm.
I did
And
one of those.
terrariums last forever. So I'm hoping this sits on their desk forever. And then they think of Claravine and then they like refer a friend or like tap into some of those other programs that we have. So
Yeah, I love that. Go ahead, Kaylee.
Oh, yeah, I love the terrarium idea. I did that in person at a company I worked for once, and that was also their whole goal is that it'll like stay on your desk forever. Mine sadly did not survive for all that long, but I did my best. I'm not a plant whisperer. And more broadly, I was gonna say, I think there's kind of two lenses through which you can look at these things. So there's starting from the top down, where you have like an initiative that you're really wanting to drive and you're wanting community to help support that initiative. And then there's bottom up activities where there are things that start organically with your customers, where they're identifying like the needs that they have. And I think it's all about kind of marrying the two of those, right? Like, what are we hearing from executives that we want customers to be driving, but then also what are our customers kind of raising their hands and saying, hey, we kind of would like a forum for us to interact with each other. And every kind of like persona is going to have different preferences, but generally if you talk to a couple of clients, those types of preferences will bubble up and you'll be able to say, okay, well, I think a cab group is something that these types of folks would be interested in doing. And then just seeing how you can kind of marry the top down with that organic bottom up, engagement that's already happening. And just a quick story on how this is kind of how Customer X, the community developed, was we had a couple of clients jump on calls with Dana on our team and afterwards say like, man, this was so great. It felt like therapy. And so we started these group therapy sessions, right? Because a lot of customer marketers are single person teams. So we started doing what we called group therapies. And they were just meetups similar to this. That we had on like a monthly basis. And then from there, the needs just kind of expanded. And so once like the voices all got together, we were able to, continually identify what else, folks, what would be valuable based on what's going on in the economy or what's, like what challenges they're facing. So that's kind of how our community got started in the beginning, was just from that kind of bottom up organic need.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. in community over the years, I've always felt like I was like this conduit type of thing, like almost like a concierge trying to help my company with whatever we're working on and finding like the value in the community to bring back into the company, and then helping the customers by helping them know like what's going on in the world and what they can get and where we can be more supportive to them. And I think when you bring those together, it's like a win-win-win. One, I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I love to help people. Two, the community wins. They get all of this support. And three, the company continues to grow. I would say, though, that with a lot of this, I wonder, though, if sometimes people do struggle with that, taking these programs and turning them into or finding the value out of them to bring back to their companies is, like with a community, turning that into how do we get more information from the customer? What can we learn from these customers to bring back to the company to make it an even better product or company? Um, and if anyone wants to talk about that, we could. But yeah, I love what you're saying, Kaylee. Like taking those initiatives for us, when I was building the last one that I was building, it was really trying to fulfill a lot of requests that were coming in for speakers, for case studies, for all of these things that we needed to continuously fill, and trying to find something that would help us open up what we were doing to have more of a scalable approach. So, like it was quite a mind shift for people, because it was when you're looking for someone to do something, instead of asking, hey, Alex, will you be a speaker at this upcoming event? I would say, hey, Alex, and, I'd send a one-on-one individual email and just say, Alex, would you be interested in this? And kind of flesh out the type of people that we're looking for to find the best person. And in that approach of not one to one, like you and I talked about that last week, but like 1 to 15, um, and make it a little bit easier to reach out to people. So yeah, I just love that idea. And those match calls that I set up, I had seen those in communities before, but I was never specifically interested in them. I feel weird having someone I don't know make an introduction for me, but our customers had been begging to have something where they were going to be able to meet other people that were customers. So that's why we set that up. Um, yeah, so thank you. What other things have you all set up for customers that maybe helped you bring them into your programs, or um, something like that?
I didn't own this program, but this was at a previous organization. So they called it the optimization program. It wasn't quite support, but it wasn't quite a CSM of sorts. But they had a monthly webinar on the optimization webinar. It'd be like the third Thursday, and people could register for it, show up if it did. So this person was a specific product subject matter expert internally. Again, sat on the support team, but wasn't doing support tickets, but had a separate email. It was interesting because it wasn't fully support, but it was kind of support, because they would email the optimization, and these monthly webinars are like, hey, here's topics that came up in this inbox that I think everyone could learn from, but it still had the opportunity for people to go off of mute, ask their questions, gain insight. So yeah, it was called monthly optimization webinars, and the topics varied every month, but it was always the third Thursday.
And it's very simple. That's one of the things I've learned in so my approach for community, I apply to advocacy, because I'm like, anytime you have these companies where they're trying to, these B2B SaaS companies are very similar in what we need to do to make customers successful. So I'm always trying to think, okay, well, you have to scale it to make it work long term. And you can do that with very low lift projects. If I'm starting a community, I'm not going to put together an events program that gets, that takes a whole bunch of weekly podcast where I have to do a whole bunch of recording and editing, or, getting experts to hop on calls that would be Zoom calls where I'd have to do recording, editing, and all of that, a ton of marketing where I can invite Daniel to jump on a call and be like, hey, can you answer some AMA questions? Very low lift, but hugely successful in helping the customers be successful. So when you do like a monthly call like that, throw it in your newsletter and talk about it on social media. He probably knows the answers he's going to talk about and can answer questions on the call as well. And it's just a very easy, low lift thing that you can do to start making a lot of activity and noise and show like you're trying to really make a difference for the customer without asking a lot from them and not taking a whole lot of your own time to invest in it. If you're not sure what programs would resonate with you, you can use this interview. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the interview cheat sheet. So if you just like don't know where to start and aren't sure like what your customers would want, I don't recommend taking the strategy of build it and they will come. Highly recommend just having a few conversations with customers and asking them some questions about, their favorite programs they've participated in, what they would want to get out of this. On the last page of this, there's like a sample interview guide that has some specific questions around like how to get an advocacy program, started and really surface from your customers what they'd be interested in. Because if you go the opposite route, you'll end up just having to kind of trim the fat and, stop initiatives that aren't really resonating. But if you just start with like what they really, have already identified that they would care about, then you'll have a lot more adoption and success.
Agreed. Okay, we've talked about the customer programs a lot. A lot of people are quiet. Sometimes I can't tell if that means one, you're listening and, oh, I like this information, or two, you're just bored out of your minds. But Rachel had asked if we could talk about ideas for Customer Appreciation Day. So I'm going to let her share a little bit more on that and we'll move in that direction.
Thanks, Mary. If y'all are not interested in this topic, that's fine, but I've been brainstorming by myself, team of one, on things to do for customers for Appreciation Day, because that's coming up in a couple of months. And I thought maybe other customer marketers were thinking the same things and we could ideate around that initiative if you're interested. And so, something that's free to low cost to maybe something that's a little more robust, depending. I know we all have different budgets and also different customer ICP, anywhere from small business to enterprise. So that obviously changes, the kind of spend. All right. So I recommended it to Mary. I didn't know I'd be leading the conversation, which is totally fine. I just
you're
threw me a loop.
Sorry. No, I wanted you
okay.
to just intro it so that we knew what we were going to be talking about. When is Customer Appreciation Day, or whatever it is? Month?
I think it's May 19th.
Oh, okay.
I just looked it up, May 19th.
Planning ahead. I'm not even there yet mentally. I'm like, but that's a great
It's
topic.
only 2 months out.
I
Isn't that
know.
crazy?
HubSpot saying April 18th.
Oh,
Let's see. What does Leslie's newsletter say?
I know.
I
I'm
will
just
go
like,
back
I'm
and look
seeing
at that.
both May and April.
Well, that is that is commonly an issue. That is a common issue. Let me see if I could use my brain today.
Say every day is Customer Appreciation Day, just saying.
Well,
I'll see
unfortunately,
myself
my
out.
budget, Kaylee, does not
Yeah.
extend itself to every day.
Oh, you can't do terrariums every day? I think that would
I
be so
know.
cool.
I love all the terrarium type events, but I have global customers, so it always gets really complicated when you want to try to do something like that.
Are you
Let's
thinking
see.
activity or more like something that they're doing themselves? Do you want it to be like interactive with multiple customers or more like gifting?
I think it could be anything, right? So also Leslie's newsletter said May 29th. No, that's National Foot Day. Hers
Ew.
is okay. Okay. The official Customer Appreciation Day is defined as the third Friday in May. So
Yeah. Gotcha.
May 19th. Okay.
Oh, I
Looking at
cannot
that email, I can
imagine.
refocus here.
I
Yeah,
cannot
National Foot
imagine
Day.
celebrating feet. I hate feet.
Gross.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Anyway,
I
we're not
actually
gonna
have
go
an
down that path.
idea.
ooh, who said that? Who said
That
that?
was Hope.
Oh,
I
hop in there, honey.
I
Oh,
actually have
sorry.
an idea. Back in October, there was another customer appreciation, or it was get to know your customer. So we did some social media posts. We took like 6 of our really good customers and used quotes that they used in case studies, and we highlighted them and we thanked them. So it was an easy thing to do. We already had their okay. So that was something that we did.
I
That's a
think
great
that
idea.
idea that you had earlier of getting the salespeople to say, "This is what I love about our customers." I think that would be, and putting it out on social media. I think that's a fantastic idea for Customer Appreciation Day.
That is,
Yeah,
and it's also a really great way to like build a relationship with those customers and get nominations for your program without asking for nominations.
Yeah,
You got to be careful about how you use that, like the messaging though, and not just blast everyone and be like, "Hey, you were nominated."
for sure.
But I think
Um,
Customer Appreciation Day would be really cool. I'd want a gift, but I am a
yeah,
gift type person. Um,
same.
something fun. But you could always get me with like a Rocketbook notebook. I love those. So I'm probably be in that way.
My friend loves those too and gave them to all of us college girlfriends for Christmas. And I, after a year, tossed mine. But I keep hearing people talk about how they love them.
Oh, you threw it out?
I did. I threw it in the trash. I don't like junk. I'm some people like keepsakes. I'm like, I purge every season. Get rid of it.
I like
That
a
looks like
brand
really real.
new. I like a brand new Rocketbook. So I buy them all the time. It's ridiculous because I will reuse them, but probably like 30 times, and then it's a new one. Oh, Kaylee,
Um,
they are the best notebooks, and I don't even use other pens anymore. I only use the Pilot friction pens. I should be a Rocketbook advocate.
I was gonna
so you
say, I love the
should.
contrast here. We have like the biggest detractor and the biggest advocate. It's great. You guys can
I like
go head to head.
paper. I do not want to write on a piece of plastic and then have to rub it off later after I took a picture of it and then try to figure out where the hell it went. I like paper on my desk. I have about 50 of them in a pile, and I rewrite the same things on one piece of paper every week. That's how I prioritize. But I also, it's like Google Calendar and paper on my desk or notes. So anyway, I know
I
we all
like
have our own, there's something for everybody. We all have our own styles.
I like that if I write on the notebook and I take a picture, it'll send me the typed out version to my email within a couple of minutes. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so
If they could make
cool.
it feel like paper, then I would be more interested.
Somebody had the remarkable at Customer X Con, and
That's
they really liked it.
that's like super expensive. A
Oh,
No,
Rocketbook
it's
is
not.
like,
No, it's
no?
worth it. I'm the person with the mark of remarkable, and I love them.
oh, you are, Jennifer? Okay.
Yes.
How
And
expensive are they? I thought they were like
3
hundreds.
or 400, yeah.
Yeah. A Rocketbook
they
is
drop.
$30.
Yeah, what's
Well,
a remarkable?
it
Oh, yeah,
is.
this looks fun.
But they did drop the price, but now they have subscription for the cloud service. So I think it actually works better to have bought it
Yeah.
when it was more expensive. But you can get them used too. It's
Yeah,
changed
so if
my
you're
life,
working
honestly.
for Dell or IBM or, you know, those big money companies, you could do Remarkable for your customer appreciation day.
Right
So
here, love it.
this is an idea I did not come up with, but I did notice last year or maybe 2 years ago, what is time these days? But SalesLoft had like everyone in their company pick a couple of 1 or 2 G2 crowd reviews that they really liked and like shout out the customer, read the review in a video, just like a little video they shot with their phone. And so they were shouting out their customers, talking about how they loved their customers like all day. And if you follow anyone from SalesLoft, you had it all over your feed.
Oh, wow.
Which is why I remember it so vividly. Anyway, so that was one idea that's low cost. Then yeah, like gifting. I'm a gifter too. So I, similar like little landing page where they can go pick a gift, something simple, just surprise and delight. Yeah. If you are local, you could do like a little customer appreciation happy hour, especially if you're planning ahead, where they can sign up, network with other customers. You could have some like topic to chat about and make cocktails or a terrarium or something.
What kind of ideas would you be looking for?
It was just more of a topic to idea share. I'm not looking for anything specific.
Ah, okay.
I have a few things in mind, but I thought other people might be thinking about this as well.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do some like fun prize and you could give away some more high-end items like a Remarkable. Something else I've done in the past is we bought a Starbucks gift card and then posted the barcode on our Instagram story, and then would drive traffic there for customers, like go to our story and coffee on us for the day. So you just kind of have to watch the balance. You could start at 150 because you reach out to your customers, your CSMs can reach out and let everybody know, like head to the story today and buy a coffee on us. So there's no control if they buy like 1 or 2, but honestly, it's not like a gajillion people go and do it, but pretty low expense as well. Probably about anywhere between 150 to 350 on coffee.
That's a good idea too. Just a coffee is a nice little gift.
Yeah, we've
And
done.
it drives social traffic. That was all.
Yeah.
Yeah, people always like coffee. We've done electronic, just small gift cards to customers. We did have a problem with some of the international customers couldn't use them, so we had to find local coffee in their area. Some of the Starbucks had closed, but of course, we've done everything from this company, my old company, like Leatherology. Sorry, I'm just drawing a blank. Laptop cases or iPad cases, a variety they can choose. That was typically face-to-face events. But sending them a bunch of, like, typically my world is tech. So just gifts anywhere, headphones, speakers, Leatherology, mouse pads, things that are lower cost. We did some Moleskin tablets, actually. I had never purchased them, but the company was great to work with. It was a pretty low cost item. that we send out to
Yeah.
customers. And they like those. They have some really cool like covers because I'm a paper person too. In all different sizes, and you can get them, embossed, etc. And like luggage tags. We knew like an event was coming up where they'd be traveling to, passport holders and luggage tags. They really like that too.
Yeah. I have seen that, the donation before. One of my last vendors, I think it was for the holidays, but they reached out and said, we'd like to donate $250 to any charity of your choosing on your behalf for the holidays or whatever, which was nice. And we got to pick where to put it.
Yeah, I've actually liked those myself, where a lot of times I don't always like the charities that are listed. When I do like the charities that are listed, I appreciate that.
There are a couple of vendors out there, and I'm not going to remember all the names, but they're almost like a gifting platform, but for charitable gift cards. And so basically, you send the gift card that says it's a $200 donation or whatever, and then they have a pretty long list that the customer can choose from, so that it's not just you saying, "Oh, here's the 2 or 3," but it's a list of like hundreds of charities that they can pick from, and then the company also does the actual logistics of the donation. There's obviously a little bit of fees then that you pay for administering that, but it's a lot easier. And I found that also works well with if you have customers that are in like finance or government and they can't accept gifts. A lot of times they are allowed to direct a charitable donation that somebody else is paying for.
Yeah, we kind of use the Thanks platform. It was actually purchased prior to me coming here. We're not going to use that for our new program going forward. But our customer success group and our customer experiencing group has been leveraging it. And we actually added charities that are part of our BMC Cares program. And the Thanks team was able to add those as options when a customer donates to charities. So that was nice that they support the charities that are in conjunction with our BMC Cares program.
That is nice. Okay, Daniel's hopping off for his next call. All right, we are at the end of our call for the week. It goes by so fast. Thank you everyone for showing up. We have the next few weeks scheduled actually. I don't remember where I put it, but we have Cece Lee is going to join us, and she's going to talk about how to build really good relationships with your customer success teams. Sienna is going to join us March 31st to talk about building executive advocacy programs. And we have someone else joining. Oh, Kevin Lau on the 17th is going to join and talk a little bit about his course and customer marketing frameworks. So, and I have other people that have been reaching out. So, if you want to give me some feedback about whether or not you want every week to be, what's the word? Scheduled out. And Marie Elliott's going to be joining us very soon too, but I'm not sure which date because I forgot to look before the call. I'm sorry, Marie. And she's going to talk about ABM and customer marketing, which is really exciting topic. But just let me know if we like to have these informal calls or if there's a certain structure you like to follow where we just come on and answer questions and talk about something, or not have a topic and versus having a topic the 24th. Thank you, Marie. And I like the mix. Yeah, I've been telling people like 20 minutes to 30 minutes if they want to present. That way we have plenty of time for Q&A and just talking in general. So that's it for the week. Thank you all for hopping on and stay in touch. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks, Mary.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mary.
You're
Nice.
welcome.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
You too.